In the depths of the sleepy college of evening mist lost amidst lush forests and rugged cliffs, something terrible occurred. A murder, glaring and mysterious, noticeably shook the entire institution, leaving in the hearts of students and faculty an insurmountable fear and bewilderment. This college, like an island of safety and tranquil distance, became a place where mysteries reign and horror weaves its threads through every corner. On the day when ordinary classes turned into a hellish nightmare, there was a sense of something unusual lingering in the classrooms and corridors, as if emanating from the darkness of timelessness. It all began when one of the students, Edward Miller, did not show up for the morning lesson. At first glance, this could have seemed like an ordinary incident, but as the hours passed, unease began to seep into the souls of his comrades and teachers. Where could Edward have disappeared? When his friends went searching, their traces led towards the old library building, covered in a thick layer of dust and forgotten pages. There, in a forgotten corner, they found his body. Edward's face, darkened by death, contorted in a final agonizing scream, his eyes wide open, as if trying to escape the horror that struck them in that morning hour. The mysterious murder of Edward Miller at the Evening Mist Educational Institution sparked panic and chaos. How could such an incident be explained in a college where even shadows seemed unable to hide without the knowledge of its inhabitants? Authorities were called to the crime scene, and an investigation began, which became particularly complex due to its location. The horrific murder of Edward Miller turned out to be just the beginning of a series of mysterious events that plunged the college into a darkness of suspicion and fear. After this incident, other strange disappearances began. Students vanished without a trace, as if swallowed by the sinister mist surrounding their educational institution. Such terrible events caused panic among the college residents, and bewilderment only increased with each new disappearance. Despite all the efforts of law enforcement and the detectives involved, the killer remained elusive, like a shadow hiding in the depths of this mysterious place. Each day brought new questions, but the answers remained elusive, as if locked behind a mysterious door. Among the students and faculty, the most incredible rumors and speculations began to spread. Some claimed that the educational institution was built on the site of an old cemetery, and the ghosts of the dead returned to avenge the living. Others spoke of a conspiracy aimed at intimidating and frightening students, distracting them from real events. But one thing remained a fact: the killer was among them, hiding his dark intentions behind the mask of a regular student life. Weeks and months passed, and the killer continued to roam free, continuing his dreadful game with the lives of innocent people. Each new day brought new fears and apprehensions, and in the classrooms of the Evening Mist a troubled anthem of fear rang out. However, just when it seemed that an atmosphere of unease and fear had permanently settled in the educational institution, a predetermined change occurred. Suddenly, like a mysterious final chord in a dark symphony of horror, everything changed. At dawn one misty morning, the body of another student was discovered in the abandoned part of the library, shrouded in darkness and silence. But this time, something was different. Next to the body, a letter written in blood was found, as if the dying breath of the victim. The next victim, Professor John Mallory. This message caused panic and chaos among the faculty. Fear penetrated the depths of the educational institution, enveloping everyone under the roof of this mysterious college like a thickening mist. However, this letter turned out to be not only a warning but also a key to solving the puzzle. After careful analysis of the letter and all available evidence, detectives finally began to approach the truth. Inside the college lurked a person whose dark intentions were directed against their own educational institution. The well-known professor, John Mallory, turned out to be the one behind these horrific crimes. It seemed that his mind was overshadowed by the dark shadow of madness, and his actions were a tangled web of murder and secrets. It turned out that John Mallory was the one hiding behind the mask of a student, the one who lurked in the darkness and killed his colleagues and students, as if playing his horrifying game with his own mind and conscience. His motives remained unclear, like a puzzle lost in the depths of his sick mind. Perhaps it was revenge for something long forgotten. Perhaps it was part of his twisted plan, which could never be fully revealed. After John Mallory was arrested, the misty veil shrouding the Evening Mist College began to dissipate. But even after his arrest, the shadow of fear remained hanging over the educational institution, reminding all its inhabitants that even in the safest places, the darkest secrets are hidden. With this solved case and the lingering feeling of fear, let's conclude our story. But it should be remembered, in a world where secrets and murders hang in the air, no one can be truly safe. The case was far from over, even after John Mallory's arrest. New murders continued to shake the Evening Mist College, despite the presumed killer being behind bars. With each new crime, fear and paranoia only intensified, and the mysteries that permeated the walls of the educational institution seemed endless. Detectives, despite their efforts, could not find a logical sequence of events that would lead to solving the mystery of the new murders. It was at this moment that the attention of investigators turned to one of the most modest and unnoticed students of the college, Thomas Wright. Thomas always seemed like a simple and shy guy, never attracting much attention. His calm demeanor and lack of any distinctive character traits made him inconspicuous in the crowd. He didn't stand out, didn't draw attention to himself, which is why no one could have thought that he might be the one hiding behind the mask of the killer. Suspicions fell on Thomas as, during the investigation, peculiar connections were discovered between some of the murders and his class schedule. Furthermore, his behavior seemed suspicious. He often kept to himself, avoiding interaction with other students, and his eyes seemed to hold some dark secret. Under questioning, detectives found something unusual about Thomas. His answers to questions were convoluted and inconsistent, as if he was trying to conceal something. Under pressure from the detectives, Thomas began to reveal his secret. It turned out that Thomas Wright had long been hiding his true identity. Behind that shy facade was a person whose dark thoughts and desires were directed against his own peers. He harbored an inexplicable desire for revenge and destruction, which led him to commit horrific crimes. As Thomas revealed his secret, the image of his dark soul emerged before the detectives' eyes. He confessed that his actions were an act of incredible cruelty and recklessness, but he could not resist fulfilling his dark fantasies. Thomas Wright was arrested and brought to justice, but even after his imprisonment, the shadow of fear continued to loom over Evening Mist College. The residents of this place could never forget the horrible events that occurred within its walls and the mysteries that remained unsolved. Thus ended the story of the murders at Evening Mist College, but in the minds of its inhabitants, the trace of fear and apprehension lingered forever. In this college, where even time seemed to lose its meaning, mysteries remained eternal and unresolved, awaiting their next revelation. So, the story of the murders at Evening Mist College left behind many lessons and reflections. It reminds us that darkness can lurk even behind the most ordinary faces, that even in the safest places, the darkest secrets can hide. This story shows that sometimes true horror does not manifest outwardly. It may reside in the depths of the human soul, waiting for its moment to emerge. It reminds us of the importance of vigilance and trusting our own intuition, that each of us must be prepared to recognize evil, even if it hides behind ordinary faces. But perhaps the most important lesson we can draw from this story is that fear and darkness should not overcome our pursuit of truth and justice. Even when the world seems filled with threats and dangers, we must remain true to our principles and fight for light to overcome darkness. And finally, the story of the murders at Evening Mist College reminds us of the value of each life and the importance of treating each other with care. In a world where secrets and dangers lurk at every turn, we must stick together to overcome any obstacles and protect each other from evil. Thus, while the story of the murders at Evening Mist College was filled with fear and mysteries, it also reminds us of the strength of the human spirit and our ability to overcome any trials when we stand together, united in solidarity.